and good morning. My phone is just buzzing to remind me that it is precisely 11 a.m. Central Time, noon Eastern Time, and welcome, good afternoon, and good morning. Welcome to the John Lavenia Success Mastermind for your Wednesday, 22nd of June. About 22. I'm your host today, and in case you hadn't heard, the name's Glen Henderson. It's good to see you. Glad to have you with us, and all of our friends who are jumping in here. I see you jumping on the through the various interweb multiverses. Nice to see you. Which, by the way, Paula and I, my lovely bride, who is currently out of the country on business, she is right now she's doing business in the city of Port of Spain, Trinidad. So she's been there since Monday evening. We'll be back on Saturday. And so my mission, should I choose to accept it, is to see if I can keep the house from burning down for the rest of the week. So we are having ourselves a good, productive week on a couple of different levels. I'm making a major change in some of my media involvements, social media involvements. Well, anyway, hello, John. Greetings. And Daisy. Catherine is here. Cat, and the cat. Or is it Cat and the cat? I can never keep that straight. And Daisy's here. Don't tell the boss. Daisy's jumped in to listen in with us. Good to see you as always, Daisy. So, making a major change to some of my social media stuff. Those of you who have had conversations with me, you know that for the past year and some change, I have been hosting a TV show. How cool is this? Yep, Networking Now is what it's been called, and I've enjoyed it. I've been enjoying it enormously. In fact, our good friend John has been a guest on the show. We had ourselves a really interesting conversation from a hotel room in Vegas. I believe it was last summer or some such like that. So it's a really great time. And now it has become clear to me in my planning and looking out over the horizon that it is time for me to move on from that and strike out on my own. So I'm launching, you heard it here first. I'm in the process of putting stuff together to launch my very own vidcast. So it's sort of like video, podcast, vlog, or something along these lines. I've been offered and gratefully accepted the assistance of a very, very good friend of mine who's been doing, who's been doing podcasts and vidcasts and helping people do this for a very, very long time. And so I'm really looking forward to the future. So that's coming up, and I'll keep you posted on as things develop, as they say in the news business. We shall keep you posted as events develop. Now, to talk about today, specifically, I had the wonderful privilege or an opportunity to go to a New York Mets baseball game last night here in Houston. The Mets were in town. My beloved Metsies were in town to play the Houston Astros. And this was two very good teams meeting in the middle of the season. Pretty much of a routine game. There's no championships or anything like that on the line. But it's always a great thing to get out to the ballpark and see my Mets, and win or lose, it's always a great day at the old ball yard. So went out with some friends and had some great time out there at the game. Now, here's the funny thing. Somebody asked me after the game, so, did you have a good time? Oh, absolutely. Had myself a blast. And they were confused. They said, but, wait, you mean you had a good time? But the Mets lost. The Mets lost. As a matter of fact, the Mets did get beat up pretty good last night by the Astros. Well, wait a minute. I thought you said the Mets lost, but you had a good time. How does that work? And I actually thought about it for a second. Well, to be honest, I didn't really have to think about it because I made a decision long time ago when it comes to the Mets, to my loyalty to my Metsies. It was sort of a decision made out of necessity because for a good part of the New York Mets history, they have been a pretty bad baseball team. Almost as bad as Lindsay Dollar's Chicago Cubs. Ooh, good thing Lindsay's not on. I shouldn't say stuff like that. She's not here to defend her. She's not here on camera to defend herself. But anyway, the Mets have been a pretty bad baseball team. And so, and yet, I've been a Mets fan my entire life. Been rooting for them, following them on the news, watch as many games as I can, attend a game or two per year when I'm able. And I like talking about the Mets and, discussing the team and who's injured and what's the strategy for the next game and all that sort of thing. So, excuse me, for me, the Mets have been sort of a lifelong obsession. You can put it that way. Win or lose. So when this person asked me yesterday, but wait a minute, you said you had a great time, but the Mets lost. I said to them, look, my enjoyment, and here's the key, my enjoyment of the Mets and a day out at the ballpark is not contingent on whether or not the Mets win the game. What? But you're a Mets. But you're a Mets fan. You want them to win. Well, of course I want them to win. I would like the Mets to win every game. And there's a certain reality that one comes to as a lifelong baseball fan. And it is this. The Major League Baseball regular season is 162 games. It's a lot of games, right? 162 games. And as far as I am aware, there has never been a time, there has never been an occasion in Major League history where a Major League Baseball team finished the regular season with a record of 162 victories and 0 losses. It's never happened. And human nature being what it is, and the push and pull of fate and circumstance and injuries and so forth being what they are, I would say it's highly unlikely that a 162-0 season will ever happen. So, one thing that has become a reality. Oh, by the way, can I interrupt for just a second? I went and got. So apparently, I now wear glasses. Went to the eye doctor. I knew there was an issue. Went to the eye doctor, and they fixed me up. Took a couple of days for my eyes to adjust, but here you go. What do you think? Not bad. Did they make me look smarter? Well, that was really the whole point of getting that. Anyway, back to the 162-0. No Major League Baseball team has ever finished a regular season undefeated. So, it's realistic to expect that the Mets are going to lose a game here and there. I would prefer that they actually win more than they lose. But I've come to the point, as most level-headed sports fans do, that you go out, you have a dog and a beer at the ballpark, you root for your boys, and win or lose, you still got their back, right? That's sort of the way fandom is supposed to work. Now, what in the world, Glenn, does any of this have to do with success? What in the world does any of this have to do with a successful mindset or a productive mindset or the mission that we are on to support one another in growing our networks, growing our businesses, growing our lives, increasing our stats, putting a little more money in the bank, helping other people to improve their position in life? What's any of this got to do? What's baseball got to do with any of this? My doorbell just rang. Should I answer it? Oh no, it's okay. It's just I think it's the FedEx man dropping something off. So I don't know. No worries. What's any of this got to do? Well, it's an old saying, isn't it? And to me, this is one of the absolute keys, indispensable keys to a successful life, a successful journey through your business and your venture and whatever it is. It's a corny old saying. And once I mention it, you're going to chuckle because, oh yes, sure, I've certainly heard that before. You know the saying? Hey, you win some, you lose some. Wait, that's it, Glenn? That's the big, profound lesson for the day? Well, yeah. You win some and you lose some. And I'm going to cite two prime examples of why this indisputable fact needs to be a part of our DNA. I'm going to show you two prime examples, one from the real world and one from the not so real world. Yes, we're going to the Star Trek thing. There's an episode in Star Trek The Next Generation called Data's Day. Data, as you know, the android, is one of the officers aboard the good Starship Enterprise, USS Enterprise, and on this particular day, he is writing a letter to one of the scientists back at Starfleet headquarters about his everyday life and, a day in the life of Data and the things that he thinks about and his Data's own musings on the nature of humanity and so forth. And one of the activities that Data is involved with in that day is the transportation, the ferrying of an ambassador, a Vulcan ambassador, to a certain location in space where they're meeting. She's apparently going to a secret meeting with the Romulans, the sworn enemies of Starfleet and of the Federation. So through a whole series of circumstances, which will be described in one of the chapters in my next book, it turns out that this Vulcan ambassador is actually a Romulan spy, a double agent who duped Captain Picard and crew into ferrying her right up to the Romulan border and handing her over to her fellow Romulans. What? Yeah. Captain Picard got bamboozled. And of course, as you can imagine, this ambassador who'd been working with the Federation for years and years and years is now taking state secrets over to the Romulan side. Oh my gosh, this is a potential disaster. And do you know how Captain Picard's second in command, Commander William Riker, describes this potential diplomatic and military disaster? You know what he says to Captain Picard? Here's what he says. He says, some days you get the bear, and some days the bear gets you. Which is not to minimize what happened. It was a terrible thing, and it would have been very difficult for Captain Picard to figure this out in any case. But at some point, at this point in this episode, Captain Picard had to recognize that on this particular occasion, he had been outsmarted. He had been beaten, fooled, bamboozled, led astray, flim-flammed. And there was absolutely nothing he could do about it. Well, then what? Now what? Well, you go back to work. Captain Picard went on, he took the Enterprise out of this dangerous area, and they carried on to their next mission with a very important lesson having been learned. Be a little bit more careful when it comes to ambassadors heading toward the Romulan territory. So that's the lesson that Captain Picard had to learn. The main thing there being, like we said, you win some and you lose some. Now, real life example, our very own good friend, Mr. John Lavenia. I've heard John talk many times about the fact that he has in his various business ventures across many years. I don't want to give it away. I mean, he's younger than I am, but never mind. For some years now, John has started businesses, started other businesses, succeeded here, failed there, made millions, lost millions, and I don't believe I'm telling any tales out of school here because John has already mentioned this to us in previous conversations. And with all of this winning and losing and succeeding and failing and 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, what's been the end result? Or at least the result to this point? Well, one of the major results of all of this in my mind is the creation and the development, the growth of a major leader, world leader, in my opinion, in the art and science of personal growth, of success, of business acumen, and in the art of the impression of increase. And I firmly believe that none of this would have been possible, or very little of it, let's say, would have been possible for John. I would say that very few of the skills that he's developed in training and in coaching and in leadership and in making money, sales, mastery, very few of these skills would have been possible for John to develop had he not gone through those minefields of success and failure and steps and stops and starts and stumbles and detours and course corrections and all of this stuff. He's lost a couple. He's won a few, lost a few. I certainly have won a few and lost a few along the way. The key to making the most of both the wins and the losses is our frame of mind, our attitude about the wins and the losses. Well, as I said to my friends just last night, my enjoyment of the Mets is not contingent on whether or not they win or lose a particular ball game. It's not. No. As I said, quite frankly, I enjoy it more when they win. I enjoy it a bit more when they win. But I'm not pre-suicidal when they lose. And each of us needs to understand that and remember and constantly remind ourselves, particularly when we are, as the saying goes, in the weeds, up to here with work and stress and problems. I was just chatting with someone very recently who was saying that they're currently feeling like they're in a state of overwhelm at the moment? Well, the state of overwhelm is in many ways an obstacle on our road to success. Wondering what's going to happen. Am I going to close the sale? Am I going to be able to enroll this new business partner? Am I going to be able to expand my network like I really want to? What's going to be the result of this conversation? I don't know whether I'm going to win or lose this particular time. Win, lose. Conor McGregor, one of the greatest mixed martial arts fighters in the world, heard him say one time, and he said it after a defeat. He said, because the interviewer was asking him, how's it feel? How do you come back after a loss like this? And Conor said, I never lose. What? You never? No, we don't lose. Our team, we never lose. We don't? No. We either win or we learn. So, the attitude for us, when we win, yes, we celebrate it. We congratulate ourselves. We congratulate the other, high fives, chest bump somebody, fist bump somebody, whatever. Yes, we celebrate the win. And we remember that, again, as our good friend John has said many times, no one ever really won. No one ever really learned anything by winning. And when we lose, to remember and remind ourselves that, hey, you win some, you lose some. Some days as my old Cajun buddy Danny Wilson liked to say, some days you get the bar and some days the bar gets you. There will be times when we will not close the sale. And the important thing is at that moment, we conduct a review. Okay, what happened? What did I say? What did the person say back to me? How did the conversation go? Was there a point where I felt the conversation slipping away from me, for example? Was there a point when I felt that the flow of the sales transaction, or the flow of this conversation, went out of my control? How can I improve? What can I change? What can I say differently? How can I respond differently next time so that I come to a more successful outcome? As one example, right? Top Gun. A good pilot is compelled to evaluate what happened so he can apply what he's learned. Where do all these crazy movie lines come from? Well, it comes from watching all the movies, I suppose. So there's that. There is another line, actually, from another Star Trek episode, also involving Data and Captain Picard, where Data is playing some sort of a 24th century board game with another very smart human, and Data keeps losing. The human keeps beating him. But Data's like a super android. He's got the heuristic learning systems. He's like a super genius sort of intellect or something, right? How does he keep losing to this guy? And he asks Captain Picard. He says, but sir, I executed all the proper strategies. I did this, I did that. I was supposed to win, and my moves were correct. And Captain Picard says something to him. He says, Data, it is possible to do everything right and still lose. That is not a weakness. That is life. Oh, that's good preaching right there, Captain. Once again, it is possible, and I have learned this myself. It is possible to do everything right and still lose. That is not a weakness. That is life. What's truly important for us is that we learn the lesson from that defeat, from that setback, from that course correction, from those steps back. Important that we learn what happened and how we can do it better next time. Very, very important that we learn the lesson, by the way, because as I heard someone say the other day, I think I read it on a post or something, said one of those philosophies for living, right? One of those guidelines for living said, always remember, the lesson will be presented, and it will be presented again, and it will be presented over and over and over until you learn it. You ever heard somebody say, why does this keep happening to me? Have you ever said that? Ever had that thought? Why does this keep happening to me? Why do I keep failing? Why do I keep messing up on this? Well, for one thing, sure, it's possible to do everything right and still lose. We know this. So you learn, here's the key. Why does this keep happening to me? Well, maybe you haven't learned the lesson yet. Figure out what it is. Figure out what it is I'm supposed to pick up from this incident, what it is I'm supposed to learn to do better, and do it a little bit better the next time. So, there you go. What I learned at the ball game. It is possible to be a professional, major league, highly skilled, highly trained, major league professional baseball player and still lose a game. Go out there, do your best, and still lose the game. So what do? Do you quit? You turn in your spikes, you quit the team and go off and sell insurance or something? Well, you pick yourself up, you say, okay, we lost this game. What did we fall short on? What can we do better the next game? Well, we're going to find out because the Mets and Astros are playing again this afternoon. And guess who's going to be, well, not at the stadium, but guess who's going to be checking out the game? So we'll see if the Mets have figured out what to do better. From yesterday's defeat, did they figure out what to do better? And from your defeat of yesterday, have you figured out what to do better? If not, you may want to go back and review again because I'll guarantee the lesson will be presented again until you learn it. There you go. What say you? What do you think about all of this winning and losing stuff? And some days you get the bear and some days the bear gets you. The key is to get up and keep on moving after the bear gets you. So that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Alrighty then. I wonder what's at the door. You know, it's always fun for me when the doorbell rings and you hear the box drop right in front of the door. Wonder what it is. Is it something cool? Do I remember what did I order the other day? Do I remember what it? Well, it's out there. I guess I can go and find out what it is. And in the meantime, oh, you know what I never did? I never stopped off and let us know about the calendar. It's a fairly light couple of days. Today, Hospitality Suite after me. Tomorrow, Jen Session, surrounded by Hospitality Suite on both sides. You know, you ought to stop by the Hospitality Suite sometimes. I've seen some pretty interesting, I've had some pretty interesting conversations in the Hospitality Suite. So there's that. And did you know that Friday is a Saint Jean Baptiste Day up in the wonderful province of Quebec, Canada? So happy Saint Jean Baptiste Day, I guess. Or I'll guarantee you, I'm the first person who has wished you a happy Saint Jean Baptiste Day this week. I'm the first person this week to wish you. You're welcome. Jen Sesh, and one of my favorite things, Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, John fires up the camera and zips his lip. Okay, now that's weird. When have you ever known John to zip his lip in a public forum? Yes, of course, we're talking about the famous Be Heard. For many, I've heard more than one person say that the Be Heard segment, Fridays at 6 p.m. Eastern, is their favorite part of the entire Lavenia Success Mastermind system, because you get to come on and talk about whatever in this great big wide world you want to talk about. Vent, let your thought flow out. And John, and whoever else is joining will be there, and you will, I guarantee you, be heard. So there you go. It has been a fabulous time chatting with you. Nice to see you, Cat and the Cat. Or is it Cat? One of these days I'm going to get that straight. Thanks, John, for all you have done. Daisy and Edward and Money Mama Lindsay herself. Good to see you and all our friends on Facebook and catching us on the replay. We're so glad you've chosen to take a few minutes and spend it with our John Lavenia Success Mastermind family. Hey, looky here. Go out and make this a fantastic day because, as we always hear it said, you absolutely deserve it. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.